She texted me. "Oh, my male bestie will just crash on your side of the bed." I answered with a single word. Right. That was it. I didn't argue, didn't rage. Instead, I opened my laptop, found a small furnished studio across town with flexible month-to-month terms, and signed the lease on the spot. By the time Karen saw the sublease offer I later drafted for our apartment, at the going market rate, her sudden memory of boundaries was remarkable. I'm 32, and I've built my life around structure and calm. My job in data analytics feeds directly into my personality. Spreadsheets, models, trends, everything in order. Even my commute is ritualized with carefully curated playlists designed to regulate my mood. But the crown jewel of my system is my apartment. It's not just where I live, it's a sanctuary. A space designed like a personal operating system. Controlled, optimized, peaceful. For 2 years it was mine alone. Then Karen, 30, moved in about 18 months ago. At first, her presence added a splash of color to my grayscale environment. She was spontaneous, loud, bursting with the kind of chaotic energy that made her a successful freelance event planner. For a while I thought it balanced me. But slowly, like water eroding stone, the little disruptions added up. Her friends started staying over without asking, trailing glitter and empty wine glasses behind them. She'd borrow my noise-canceling headphones for work calls, and return them with the battery dead. Exactly when I needed them to focus. Every time I brought it up, she'd laugh it off, kiss me, and call me her adorable old man. Each dismissal was another unacknowledged cut. I didn't realize I was the frog in the pot, the water slowly heating. The worst part of the entropy came in the form of her best friend, Julian. He was a between-gigs musician, code for broke and drifting. To him, my apartment was an open lounge. A place to crash, snack, and play guitar poorly while sipping the craft beer I'd bought for my weekends. My tolerance wore thin, but I bit my tongue, convincing myself it was temporary. The data, however, was trending toward zero patience. Then came the text that ended everything. A Wednesday afternoon. I was locked into the deep focus of a complex model. Total immersion. My phone buzzed. Karen. "Hey babe, so Julian's gig got cancelled and his flight's not for a few days. He's gonna crash with us. Is it cool if he takes your side of the bed? I know you hate being woken up and he moves around a lot, so it's just easier." Smiley face. "He'll be there when you get home." I read it twice. Not the couch, not an air mattress. My side of the bed. The place where I lay down every night, where I was most vulnerable, erased with a cheerful emoji. There was no question in her words, just a decision handed to me. The audacity was breathtaking. But instead of anger, something colder and sharper clicked into place. A switch flipped. All the emotional noise vanished, leaving pure clarity. The conclusion was undeniable. I wasn't a partner anymore. I was a resource. My home was a hostel, my bed a spare cot. I typed one word. Right. Then I silenced my phone, turned it face down, and opened a browser tab. Not for couples counseling or boundary setting advice, but for furnished studios available immediately. Within an hour I'd signed a lease. It was expensive, sure, but flexible. A clean break. My escape pod. After work, I didn't go home. I drove straight to the new studio. The lockbox key was waiting. The place smelled like fresh paint and disinfectant. It was empty, impersonal, sterile. And mine. I stood in the silence for a moment, breathing in the peace. Then I went to work. Back at the old apartment, both cars were in the lot, hers and Julian's. Perfect. They were comfortable. I slipped inside, silent as a thief, and went straight to my office. My essentials: laptop, backup drives, passport, a few documents. A duffel bag for clothes, chargers, toiletries. I paused at my custom-built oak bookshelf, the project I'd poured months of effort into. It hurt to leave it, but I knew I'd be back for it when the time was right. Then I walked out, locked the door, and didn't look back. At the studio, I sat on the unfamiliar mattress and opened my laptop again. The tone had to match the situation. Professional, detached, factual. I drafted the email as if it were a business deal. Subject: sublease offer. Apartment address. Karen, per your message today, it's clear our housing needs have diverged. I've secured alternative accommodations effective immediately. This email serves as a formal offer for you to sublease the apartment for the remainder of my lease term. Terms. 1. Monthly rent, $2,850, the current fair market rate for comparable units in the building. 2. Security deposit, $2,850 due prior to signing. 3. Utilities, must be transferred into your name within 5 business days. 4. Leaseholder responsibility. I remain the primary leaseholder and will remit payment to management. You are responsible for compliance with all building rules. Please confirm acceptance of these terms by Friday at 5 p.m. If accepted, I'll draft a formal agreement. If declined, I will require you and all guests to vacate within 15 days, so I can make alternate arrangements for the property. Leo. I read it once more, steady as stone, then hit send. I turned my phone off, lay down in the new bed, and closed my eyes. The silence was heavy and perfect. For the first time in months, I wasn't worried about being woken up. 17 hours passed before I heard from her again. 17 hours of uninterrupted quiet. I hadn't realized how badly I needed that silence until it finally arrived that I woke up in the studio, made myself a quick cup of instant coffee, and got to work remotely. My phone had been off since the day before, and it wasn't until around lunchtime that I decided to power it back on. The moment I did, it was like setting off a blaring alarm. Notifications started pouring in without pause. There were 23 missed calls from Karen, 8 from Julian, and 4 from her mother, Mara. The text scrolled across my screen like a live feed of panic and outrage. Yesterday, 8 p.m. Where are you? Julian and I ordered pizza. Okay. Not funny. I saw your email. Is this a joke? A really, really bad one. $2,850? Have you lost your mind? Rent is $2,100. You're trying to make money off me. Tenant, pick up your phone, coward. You can't just kick me out. I have rights. Julian looked it up. My mom is calling you. You'd better answer. She knows a lawyer. The speed with which she escalated was incredible. Straight from confusion to outrage to legal threats. All wrapped in a sense of entitlement that left me stunned. Somehow, she had twisted things so that I was in the wrong, for refusing to subsidize her and her best friend. Then the phone lit up again. Karen was calling. I let it ring for a moment, then answered, putting it on speaker. Finally, she shrieked. No greeting, no pause, just raw fury. What the hell is wrong with you? You sent me a landlord email. What is this, Leo? It's exactly what it says, I replied calmly. A formal offer. An offer? It's an eviction notice, and you're trying to scam me. We pay $2,100. No. I pay $2,100. That's a preferential rate I got for signing a 2-year lease and having spotless rental history. The current market rate for a 1-year lease or sublet is $2,850. I checked. This isn't personal, it's the market. I could practically hear her brain short-circuiting. But I'm your girlfriend. You can't charge me market rate. The terms of our relationship seem to have been made negotiable, I said evenly. So I've made the living arrangement negotiable. You have until Friday at 5. This is about Julian, isn't it? She snapped. You're insecure. He's my best friend. It was just a few nights. This is about me finding out that I don't even have a claim to my own side of the bed, I said. That was the last straw. The decision is made. There was muffling, then Julian's voice came through. Bro, this is messed up. Karen's in tears. You're gonna make her homeless over a misunderstanding. Hello, Julian, I said, lowering my voice. Does that mean you're offering to co-sign the sublease with her? With your stable income? Or are you just enjoying the free ride while it lasts? Silence. Then Karen came back crying. Leo, please just come home. We'll talk about it. I'm sorry, okay? Julian can sleep on the couch. Just come home. It was the apology of a child caught red-handed, not a woman who actually understood the betrayal. The offer stands, I told her. I won't be coming home. Let me know by the deadline. And I hung up. My next call was to the property management office. I asked about the subletting process, and they confirmed everything. As the sole leaseholder, I had full rights. Any subletter needed to submit an application, provide references, and pass a credit check. And yes, the market rent was $2,850. That same evening, the smear campaign began. A text popped up from a mutual friend, Anya. "Hey Leo, I talked to Karen. She's a wreck. Said you two had a fight and you disappeared. Is everything okay? She's worried you're having some kind of mental health crisis." The narrative was already shifting. I wasn't enforcing a boundary. I was the unstable boyfriend. "Appreciate you checking in," I replied. "I'm fine. Karen and I are having a serious dispute about our living situation. I'm not in crisis. I'm just handling things privately." The next day brought an email from Mara, Karen's mom. The tone was saccharine, but the message was clear. "My heart breaks for you both. To treat Karen, who adores you, with such cold, corporate language is deeply concerning. Don't let a moment of anger destroy something so beautiful." They thought this was a negotiation. It wasn't. Friday, 4:58 p.m., an email from Karen. "Fine. I'll stay. I'll sublet. I can't believe you're doing this. This doesn't mean we're broken up. We are going to fix this. I'll get the deposit from my mom. Send me the forms." Not a shred of accountability. No apology. Just entitlement and a chilling insistence that our relationship was still intact. I forwarded the official application forms from management. Phase 1 complete. The cracks showed almost immediately. 3 days later, instead of a completed application, I got a text. "This is ridiculous. You know my income. A credit check? Seriously? You're my boyfriend, not some stranger. Just tell the landlord I'm approved. Vouch for me." The assumption that I would, or could, bend the rules for her was astonishing. "Karen," I replied, "this is the building's standard procedure for any subletter. It's not my rule. I can't vouch for you. They need your application. The deadline is Friday." Her response: a wall of angry emojis. Meanwhile, Julian was still camped out there. I knew because Mr. Henderson, my older neighbor, texted me about loud music past 11 p.m. She was testing boundaries. Then came the personal strike. "OMG, I'm so sorry," she texted one night. "I was watering the new fiddle leaf fig Julian brought as a housewarming gift and tripped. Some water spilled on your big bookshelf. I wiped it up. Should be fine." My blood went cold. A housewarming gift. For a place she hadn't even secured? This wasn't an accident. It was a warning. Whatever leftover sentimentality I had vanished. This wasn't just boundary enforcement anymore. It was about protecting myself and my property. I responded immediately. First, I told Mr. Henderson to file all future complaints directly with management. Then I emailed Karen. Subject: urgent lease compliance and property damage. "Karen, I've been notified of repeated noise complaints. Any fines will be your responsibility. Regarding your text about the bookshelf, send me high-resolution photos of the damage immediately. Any repairs will be deducted from your security deposit. And if costs exceed that, I'll pursue the remainder in small claims court. Finally, I'm still awaiting your completed sublease application. If it's not received by Friday at 5 p.m., the offer is rescinded and formal eviction begins. This is not a negotiation." She sent back blurry photos, but I could see it. The faint cloudy ring staining the shelf. Cold fury settled in my chest. That evening Mara called again. "Leo, I'm shocked. You're threatening eviction over a tiny water spill? Karen is trying her best in a horrible situation you created." "Mara," I said flatly, "your daughter is an unauthorized occupant breaking noise rules and damaging my property. The situation was created when she decided my bed was her friend's resting place. This is the last time we speak about it." And I hung up. Friday came. At 5:30, I got an email from management. Karen's application was incomplete. No proof of income, no credit check authorization. She thought she was clever, stalling, dragging this into limbo so she could keep squatting. I drafted a legal cure or quit notice using the official state template. 3 business days to complete the application or vacate the premises. Failure would mean I'd file for eviction. This time, there was no wiggle room. I attached the property manager's email as Exhibit A. forwarded it to Karen's inbox, then printed out a copy, drove to the apartment, and taped it firmly to the front door. Standing in that hallway, affixing what was essentially an eviction notice to my own home, I didn't feel the ache of sadness I might have once expected. Instead, a strange calm settled in, a cold, steady sense of purpose. 3 months have passed since that day. Right now, the apartment is silent, the only sound the low, steady hum of the refrigerator. That silence is mine again, in my space on my terms. That tape notice was the wake-up call Karen couldn't ignore. For her, everything had been framed as a messy lover's quarrel. For me, it had become a matter of law and responsibility. The tone shifted the second the papers went up. What followed was predictable. A flood of messages, each swinging between desperate apologies and venomous threats. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I saved every word, screenshot after screenshot, neatly filed into a dedicated folder. She ignored the 3-day cure period. On day 4, I went to the courthouse, paid the filing fee, and initiated a formal eviction. If she had pictured a heated courtroom showdown, what she got instead was an impersonal, administrative proceeding in a drab government office. When the hearing arrived, she appeared with her friend Mara, both dressed as though mourning at a funeral. Karen tried to plead her case to the mediator, spinning a story about our wonderful relationship and how I had supposedly spiraled into irrationality. When it was my turn, I didn't speak about love or betrayal. I presented the facts like a report. The lease in my name alone. The text message where she told me my bed would be occupied by someone else. My formal written sublease offer. Her signed acceptance of those terms. The property manager's email documenting her incomplete application. The legal notice I had taped to the door, with proof of delivery. The neighbor's noise complaint. The photos of the damaged bookshelf. The mediator, worn from years of these proceedings, looked at Karen and simply said, "He offered you a fair and legal arrangement. You accepted, then failed to fulfill the requirements. He is within his rights." That was it. Judgment was in my favor. She had 14 days to vacate. Julian, predictably, disappeared the moment official paperwork was served. He was never really invested. He'd just been enjoying the free ride. The move out itself was uncomfortable. I coordinated with the landlord and a building security guard to supervise. I wasn't about to leave room for fabricated accusations. Box by box, she emptied her things. At the end, she stood in the doorway, tears running but her performance still obvious. She whispered bitterly, "I can't believe you've turned into this heartless monster." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't lash back. I answered in the same detached tone I'd carried through the whole ordeal. "I'm not a monster, Karen. I'm the landlord now. And you were a bad tenant." When they were gone, I stepped back inside. The place was wrecked, scuffs on the walls, trash in corners, stains I hadn't noticed before. But it was quiet. And it was mine. The next week was dedicated to rebuilding. I hired a cleaning service to purge the mess. I patched up the walls and gave them a fresh coat of paint. Then I turned to my bookshelf, the one thing that had felt like the truest symbol of me. The water damage was worse than I'd hoped. Still, I spent 2 days sanding it down layer by layer, starting with coarse grit and moving to the finest polish. When the surface was smooth again, I carefully reapplied the tung oil, rubbing it into the grain until the wood glowed like the day I first finished it. The stain was gone. The oak looked renewed, scar erased, dignity restored. I deducted every expense from her security deposit. The cleaners, the repair materials, the paint. The total was precise. I mailed her a check for the remainder. $87.50, alongside an itemized breakdown. Word eventually reached me that she'd moved back in with her parents. The glamorous, subsidized city life had collapsed once the subsidy me was gone. The victory wasn't in the eviction notice itself. It was in what came after. The quiet reordering of my world. The reclamation of space. The careful sanding away of every trace of her disregard. She had thought she could casually overwrite my boundaries with a single text. Instead, she learned the truth. That every decision has a consequence, and in the end the one who controls the least controls the home. She wanted tears, shouting, drama. What she got was a business transaction she couldn't afford.